everybody, my name is Mina. Welcome to my channel. On my channel I talk about things related to growth and personal development. I am a certified life coach. Today's video is going to be a little different. I'm going to talk about the Daniel fast that I recently completed. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what the Daniel fast is, I'm going to explain that. This video will be broken into 4 parts. I'll first talk about what the Daniel fast is and where it comes from. Then I will talk about what I ate, and I'll talk about why I did it. Finally, I'll talk about my symptoms and results. So, what is the Daniel fast? If you're not familiar with the Daniel fast comes from the Bible. It is a Christian practice in which Christians abstain from meat, sugar, dairy, refined, processed foods. Basically, essentially you follow a vegan diet, consuming vegetables, fruits, whole grains, seeds, nuts, and so forth. This practice is usually done to deepen prayer and strengthen your connection with God. So in the book of Daniel, Daniel's a prophet. He was taken from Judah to Babylon, and he was brought to Babylon along with many other young men to be trained to be one of the king's advisors. In Babylon, magic was practiced along with a lot of other things, fortune telling, and he was to be indoctrinated in the Babylonian culture. One of the things, in addition to being taught all the things related to Babylon, Daniel was to eat the food that the king provided along with his wine. Daniel refused to do this. He let one of the guards know, hey, please allow me and the men I came with to eat vegetables and water only. Now, the guard was hesitant to let him do this. He was like, why should I have you appear thinner and less healthy looking in front of the king? The king will be upset with me, all these things. And Daniel was like, test us for 10 days. And if we don't look fit, then we'll eat this food. So after the 10 days were over, and Daniel and his men had consumed vegetables and water for that duration, the guard looked at them and they indeed looked much healthier and stronger than the other men, so he allowed them to continue this diet. Many believe Daniel committed himself to eating vegetables and drinking water only to show his commitment to God. If you accept the king's food and his drink, then you're accepting him, and to pledge his allegiance to God, he chose to do that through his diet. The other time diet is mentioned in the book of Daniel is in book 10, verses 2 through 5. It states, in those days, I, Daniel, was mourning for 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant food, no meat or wine came into my mouth, nor did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. Now on the 24th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, that is the Tigris, I lifted my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose waist was girded with gold of Uphaz. Both times when Daniel fasted, he was able to hear clearer from God and have visions and dreams and so forth. And a lot of people today do this fast to experience the same thing. There's so many other videos on YouTube you can watch where people have testimonies from doing the Daniel fast, where something they were praying for came true, or they had some kind of dream or something of that nature. Now that you know a little bit more about the Daniel fast, I'll go ahead and talk about why I personally did the fast. So first and foremost, I did want to get closer to God, and I also wanted clarity on what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. I have a lot of ideas that I have in my head and just wasn't sure which one to fully pursue, so I was hoping to gain clarity from that. Oftentimes when I eat healthier, I have found that I do occasionally have dreams and so forth that come true. So just to experience that again. The other reason I did it is just that my body needed a reset. I had just got caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, and I was not treating myself the best. I essentially work 3 jobs, so I start really early and I get home fairly late, and by the time I get home I didn't necessarily feel like doing anything, and I got into a cycle of bad habits. I was door dashing food and just snacking throughout the day, not really eating complete meals, and just eating a bunch of processed foods, and that's typically not me. I do enjoy eating healthier, and I know the benefits it has for me personally, but just getting caught up in my schedule and also traveling. I did a lot of traveling, and when I go to other places, I do want to try the food that are in other places, so like I ended up compromising a lot on things that I wouldn't typically eat, but I wanted to try because I was somewhere else. And as a result of doing that for I would say 2 years, honestly. Like every now and then I snap back into reality and be like, okay, you really need to start eating a little better. And I do it for a little bit, but then I'd fall back off and be like, oh, I'm tired, let me DoorDash. I'm somebody that doesn't even eat fast food, but it was to the point that I was DoorDashing fast food. Like that's how bad things had gotten for me. And as a result of this, I was sluggish, I had brain fog, I was bloated. So I just wanted a complete reset, and I knew by resetting my body and my mind, all the other things will fall into place. So those were my reasons, and now I'll talk about what I ate. The first day I decided to do this fast, I went to Trader Joe's and just bought a bunch of fruits and vegetables. I didn't necessarily have a plan. I just bought all the stuff and I figured I'd figure it out later. One of the first things I made was a vegetable soup. I had spinach, squash in it, some vegetable broth, and I just seasoned it real well. For majority of my days, I made vegan tacos, and those were my favorite thing that I made throughout this whole fast. So you get some almond flour tortillas, you fill it with walnut meat. There was this vegan restaurant in Concord, it's closed now, but it's called Lettuce Inn, and she used to make taco meat from walnuts, so I kind of tried to replicate that recipe. Probably not exactly the same, but you can just get some walnuts and put some taco seasoning on them and like put them in a blender for a little bit. If you do it for too long, the pieces will come out too fine. You just want to do like a quick little zap, so it'll be a good size. So you got your walnut meat, you can put avocado, tomato, lettuce, guacamole, whatever you like in your tacos, and bam, you got a vegan taco. I also air fried fries a lot. I had, regular fries, I had sweet potato fries, I even had the purple potato. I air fried those sometimes, and those were all good. I made lots of salads. For my salads, I like to put spinach, walnuts. I had vegan cheese I put on. There's this green goddess dressing from Trader Joe's. I used to put that on as well. I made pozole, guys. That came out okay. It's not quite the same as regular pozole, but it was good. I got the recipe from YouTube. I'll link that down at the bottom of this video in the description. I made smoothies, green juices, you name it. When I was craving something sweet, I made oatmeal cookies. I also got this recipe from YouTube, and I can link that in the description as well. For breakfast, sometimes I had oatmeal. I can honestly say I did not do this with the intention of recording it and documenting it, so it was kind of a last minute decision, so I don't have everything, but I've incorporated as many videos and whatnot of what I did capture as possible. Next section, I'm going to be talking about my symptoms and then results. So I would say if you don't want to hear anything gross, skip to this part. So, the symptoms. The first thing is I was having bowel movements every day, which is great. The symptom that was not so great is that I was very gassy. I don't know what it is. Maybe I do know what it is. I think eating things that I probably normally wouldn't eat in such abundance, I think it kind of altered my microbiome, or maybe whatever. Things are changing, so gassiness, that was constant for the whole first, I would say, 2 weeks. Even though I was having bowel movements every day, I never quite felt like I was fully eliminating, when you know, you just know. So that was also a thing. And then the other thing was I had a lot of energy, especially for the first couple days. And so much so that I was able to reorganize things in my house. There were like certain projects and things that I wanted to do, but never had the energy to do. I got those things done. I got rid of clothes. I just kind of overall just cleaned out the house, which was cool. I also noticed I wasn't as irritable as I would usually be. Throughout the day, I work with kids a lot, and they can be irritating. And previously, I would kind of feel myself getting upset about certain things. I never let it show outwardly, but inwardly, like, man. But through doing this fast, I just felt peaceful for a majority of the time. Honestly, things that would normally upset me just didn't. I also felt like I was able to focus so much better during this fast. I kid you guys not, sometimes I feel like I have ADHD, and I know that everybody says that, but I swear sometimes I just, either there's too many things going on at once and I get overwhelmed, so I don't even start because I know I have so much to do, and I just get so overwhelmed that I don't even know where to start, and I end up doing nothing. And while fasting, I just felt like I could think clearer. Like I automatically knew what the best steps were to take in order to get everything done. And I didn't feel as anxious about starting my work. I've always been somebody that daydreamed throughout the day and through just things that involve people talking for long periods of time. Not so much intimate conversations, but in class, when I was a kid, in the classroom, teachers up there lecturing, I was not listening until it was time to do the work. Then I'd turn my brain back on and be like, hey, talk to somebody next to me, like, what are we doing? And that habit has stayed with me just in life. And that means in work meetings, if somebody's up there talking, I'm typically not listening, and I'm just in my own world. And through doing this fast, I've also felt like I've been able to listen to people's words a bit better and tune in for a lot longer. So those are also things I noticed. For the most part, I would say I had a very pleasant experience aside from the gassiness. Now, on the third-ish week, I got sick. And when that happened, I did not feel great. I was sick, tired, I couldn't eat what I wanted to eat. That was not a good time for me. And what I think, there's two things that could have happened, and they might be linked together. But the first thing is, I was sick before Christmas. I started this fast like January, I don't know, I gotta look at the calendar, but I'll put the date right here. And before Christmas, I was sick. I had a sinus infection. I ended up taking some medicine and I was able to breathe again, so that was cool. But I never quite felt like that infection went away because I could still feel pressure behind my eyes, even though I was able to breathe. So I think through fasting, maybe it helped flush out what was still in. I got super stuffy, I just wasn't feeling well. Just with me not feeling good and feeling like I wasn't fully eliminating, it was put on my mind to do a water fast. And I kept seeing all these videos pop up on YouTube about water fasts. So I ended up doing that for 3 days just because I felt like I just needed to flush my system out. So that will probably be a whole different video in itself because I don't think I should throw the water fast in with the Daniel fast because it was a little different. I did that for 3 days. And as far as my results from this fast, I did gain clarity on what it is I was seeking clarity about, so that was cool. Throughout the fast, I did end up having dreams when I went to sleep at night that were very vivid. And one of the dreams actually came true in pieces. Like it was a conversation that I had with a person, and the next day I had that exact conversation with that person. I asked for an answer to a question to be revealed to me in a dream, and the answer to that was revealed. I'm sorry, I'm being kind of vague because these things are personal to me, but those are things I noticed. I started stretching every day. That's not something that was planned, it just happened, so that was cool. That's a whole journey in itself that I might end up documenting. It has been a good journey for me, stretching, and I'm noticing the power of consistency. Like when I continue to do something every day, you do see results over time. I think the biggest lesson I've learned from this whole fast is just the power of consistency. I always half-ass do things. I'll start, see some progress, and then stop, or dibble and dabble in something and never really fully lock in. And the biggest thing I've realized is when I lock into something, no matter what it is, I will get results every time. Throughout this process, I got rid of my bloating, I lost a little bit of belly fat, I got clarity, and I did get closer with God. I'm reading every day, I'm listening to sermons every day, and overall I just feel like a happier, more disciplined, and joyful person. Now, did the water fast probably play a role in me losing some of the bloat and belly fat? Yes, probably. but I wouldn't have even done the water fast if I didn't start with the Daniel fast. I don't know if I would have considered doing that if I didn't do the Daniel fast. Or I don't think I would even have been prepared to do that if I didn't do some sort of fasting prior. I've also learned just the power of saying no. So throughout this fast, I had to say no a lot of times. I had to say no to myself many times, walking through the grocery store, seeing Cheez-Its or certain snacks that I typically like. It's like you see it, you gotta say no, you can't have that. Or just saying no to people also. There's so many potlucks that happen at my job in which sweet treats are always offered, or just like pastries, croissants, all these good looking, smelling things, and I have to say no. It's just, oh no, I'm actually avoiding that right now. Saying no to family members, saying no to going out to dinner or spending time with friends and family because there's going to be food there. And what I've also realized is that if I can say no to food, I almost feel like I can say no to anything. There's habits in my life that just don't serve me. And if I can say no to this food, I can also say no to that. When I come home, should I cook or should I watch Netflix? Netflix obviously is the more tempting thing. I have to be able to say no to that. The other thing you realize through doing these things is your biggest investment is yourself. And yes, material things matter to a certain extent, but more so how you feel on the inside, how you nourish yourself. If you're taking care of your body, if you are doing those things, you will look good just as a person. And it doesn't even matter what you put on, because you'll look good in anything because you yourself are healthy and taking care of yourself. And through doing this fast, I feel like I have built discipline, and I've been able to say no to things that I typically say yes to. Now, I'm not saying be extreme and never treat yourself, but when you're in the middle of trying to accomplish something, saying no has its benefits. Doing this fast has completely restructured my habits, how I start my mornings off. I was already on the right track in many ways, but there were just things that needed to tighten up a bit. And now I can say the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is read the Bible, listen to something encouraging, whether that be a sermon or just a podcast. I did do those things previously, but I just wasn't consistent, and this process has made me become more consistent. So that was my experience with the Daniel fast. If you stayed and watched this whole thing, thank you so much for listening. I hope you consider doing this fast as well. If you really just need like a reset and want to be closer with God and just see an overall transformation in your life, I do recommend doing this fast. So thank you so much. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and thanks for tuning in.